In a perfect world, insurance companies would always do the right thing. Yet in reality, the industry harbors a dirty little secret. People are giving them money for something they will never receive. What that really means is they're selling uncollectible insurance. Insurance companies rule our country. They control our banking. Look at AIG, too big to fail. They own Wall Street. They catch a virus, and Wall Street has diarrhea for a week. And when interest rates fall and their investment earnings plummet, they run to Congress and scream tort reform. Lawsuits are killing us, they scream, and those greedy trial lawyers are to blame by filing frivolous lawsuits and convincing ignorant juries to dole out obscene verdicts. But ironically, what you don't know until now is that insurance companies regularly and deliberately invite lawsuits whenever the cost and hassles for a third-party claimant looks to exceed all potential for recovery, rather than just doing the right thing. Too many insurers prefer to play a game of litigation chicken, a frivolous lawsuit strategy in reverse. You don't like it? Sue me. And while insurance companies play rough with consumers, they play even rougher with each other. Take the process of subrogation, for example. Here you have one insurance company making a claim against another. Rather than the sue me response, the greeting afforded a subrogation claim usually starts with a two-word expletive. Still, that does not make this game right, whether played against consumers or other insurance companies. $1 saved owing only to a claimant's sense of pragmatism and a threshold for litigation is not $1 earned in any traditional sense. It's more like $1 stolen, and it happens all the time.
In this insider exclusive Justice in America Network TV special, Justice in America, Caleb Brown's Story, our news team is on location in Fowlerville, Michigan, to meet with Tom James, senior trial attorney at MichiganAutoLaw, and his client, Caleb Brown, and his family to share how he won a record-breaking verdict of $14.3 million on a $25,000 insurance company offer in a truck accident brain injury case. But this case is much more than a truck accident resulting in a serious brain injury. It's more a case about the lengths of how far the defendant's insurance company, Secura Insurance, and its responsible adjuster, Laura Canfield, were willing to go to intimidate, pinch, or force hardship on the Brown family. Secura placed cameras on Caleb's property on the shoulder of the interstate to videotape him and his family at home and their children's grade school. Secura sent the camera surveillance to Caleb's worker comp insurer, which resulted in a termination of all benefits, including medical bill payments, lost wages, and all assistance from the workers' compensation insurance company. Secura has an extensive list of customer complaints, seen here with the Better Business Bureau. Tom James will explain that despite the fact that neither party wanted to go to trial, Secura, the defendant's insurance company, insisted on going to trial. Secura Insurance could have completely avoided this trial by negotiating in good faith. However, they chose to expose their policyholders, the Comstocks, to a potential excess verdict, resulting in that verdict of $14.3 million. Tom will discuss some current legislation in the Michigan Senate, Bill number 329, which is meant to codify a bad faith law which should help future families like the Browns and the Comstocks. This is the Insider Exclusive, live from Fowler, Michigan.
It is my great pleasure to introduce Tom James and Richard Moore to the show. Welcome to the show, guys.
Perfect. Thank you, Steve.
Tell our audience a little bit about your firm, Tom.
So our firm is Michigan Auto Law. We're located in Farmington Hills, Michigan. We also have a satellite office in Grand Rapids. We have 19 attorneys, and we focus our practice on assisting and helping families who've been involved in serious car collisions.
Strictly car and truck, vehicle.
That's right. Car and truck. I mean, we spend a lot more time on the truck cases. Those tend to be a little more serious, but we take all matters seriously.
We're here today for you to tell us a little bit about a remarkable case that both of you guys were involved with regarding Caleb Brown and an insurance company called Secura. You got a $14 million verdict. Congratulations. Tell our audience a little bit about your clients, the Browns.
Thank you, Steve. And so, yes, we are here about Caleb and Diana Brown and their 2 children. Caleb was very seriously injured back in December of 2013. And the injuries that he suffered, they didn't just affect him, right? And that's the way it goes for all of the families that we work with. But it had a very severe impact on his family. And so we were very happy and we were honored to help them through this process.
Now, in this case, I think the underlying policy the maximum was $1 million, correct?
That's correct.
Tell our audience the uniqueness about this type of case, because normally you had a police report, right, or a traffic report that said that the other driver was clearly at fault, correct?
That's correct. We had a police report that indicated that the other driver was at fault and caused the collision with the pedestrian.
So a normal layperson would say, hey, you got a police report, I want insurance, my insurance paid. Where did that all go wrong?
Well, in this case, yeah, we had a police report. We thought that it would be clear liability, and all of a sudden the insurance company decided to really fight on the liability aspect to go, it's not us at all.
Yeah, and why did they take that position?
They took that position in order to drag out this litigation. I mean, they offered only $25,000 in this case.
Yeah, and you ended up getting a $14 million verdict. But as we talked before the show, Tom, one of the reasons they take that position, and they should know better with your law firm, right? You have the financial resources to take on any kind of case and last, right? They want your side to fold, don't they?
Absolutely.
Because your clients always need money. They have medical bills, etc. Was that the rationale for them dragging it out?
Yeah, we can only guess. We can only guess as to their rationale because obviously they don't share their strategies with us. But it is very common that we run into this scenario where the insurance companies try and drag everything out. And I call it pinching. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to pinch the family into accepting lower settlement offers. They do this through intimidation, through bullying, through surveillance, a number of things that they do.
Yeah, tell our audience a little bit about what they really did regarding surveillance and the effect it had on the Browns.
Right. Right. And that, I'll tell you, some of the surveillance in this case was some of the most egregious surveillance that I've ever witnessed. And I've been doing this for 20 years. And so one of the things they did was there's property here. Obviously, we're here at Caleb and Diana's house right now. They own land, and they own land across the street as well. And so what this insurance company did was they placed, we call it deer cams, but basically it's a standalone camera that works through cellular service. And they surveilled his family and him. That's just one case.
And they didn't know anything about this, did they?
The family had no idea until afterward, because as part of Michigan law, everyone has to give over their evidence that they're going to use at trial. And so then that's when we discovered it. And that was just that one case. I mean, there's another situation where they were doing surveillance just sitting outside the kids' school, capturing video of all the other families, letting out, going out and picking up their children, obviously picking up their children from the school. It's a horrible situation.
How did you find out about the cameras?
The cameras we found out about through the disclosures that are required. So again, in Michigan, everyone's required to provide the other side with the evidence that they plan to use, and that was that time that they gave us that.
As a result of the surveillance, his workers' comp was canceled, wasn't it?
I'll tell you, yeah, and that. There's a number of ways to pinch people and
squeeze them.
And so one of the strategies that we believe they employed in this case was they tried to pinch the family. They tried to squeeze them through getting his workers' comp terminated.
And that was his only source of income.
That was the family's only source of income. That was the only source that they had to pay these medical bills. And we know, right, if you don't have an insurance company that's willing to say that there's an open claim, you can't even get an appointment, let alone get the treatment that's necessary.
And to this day, that insurance has not been reinstated, right?
That's correct. So there is a fight going on. The Browns do have an attorney that's handling their workers' comp.
And that's a separate case. But the fight that's going on is basically another insurance company is saying, hey, you're not disabled. You can go back to work, so we're not going to pay you. Prove otherwise. Guilty until proven innocent.
That's the way it works, unfortunately. That's the current environment that we're working in.
Now, Richard, the verdict ended up being $14 million. The policy was only $1 million max. What's the difference? What is the significance of the difference? What is that for?
Well, it's very significant because that becomes an excess verdict. So the insurance company then goes, it's not our problem. It's now on the defendants, the driver.
Yeah. More importantly, in layman's language, this is called the jury came back and said, you know, Secura insurance company is not operating in good faith, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
And so that extra $3 million is for bad faith, correct?
that's correct.
Now, the problem with Secura is they're saying they're not going to pay it, right?
Oh, they still won't pay it, yes.
They haven't paid anything, correct?
They have not paid anything at this point.
So where are we with this entire case? What are we doing here?
So we're currently, we still have post-trial hearings with the court. We have the next one coming up next month, actually, and to discuss the entry of the judgment of the verdict. Because part of the problem here, too, is shortly after the trial was completed and the jury came to their conclusions, the defendants fired the attorneys that had tried the case for them.
Mm-hmm. And they fired them because now they're stuck with, it's actually been reduced somewhat, right? Down to $9 million?
Well, that's the upcoming post-judgment hearings that we have.
But they're stuck with a multi-million-dollar verdict against them.
Right. So it's, I mean, we can only guess at this point still because we don't have access to talk directly to the defendants.
I do want to bring up that neither party really wanted to go to trial, right? Is that correct?
Oh, well, the Browns certainly didn't want to go to
They
trial.
just wanted their insurance paid, correct?
They just wanted to be fairly compensated for the injuries that he sustained.
That's what confuses and confounds a lot of people. They think they have some sort of security blanket with insurance. But you guys are in this business. You see the insurance companies don't say, what do you need? How can we help you? Do they?
No, not
They have a lot of nice commercials on TV. I see Progressive. I laugh at them all the time, right? But the bottom line is Progressive is one of the worst companies in the country, you know? And Secura in the state of Michigan is one of the worst insurers in this state, correct?
Right. So dealing with Secura is challenging. And, you know, and as you said, when people buy insurance, they assume that insurance is meant to protect them in the event that they accidentally hurt someone else. But in this case, it's our understanding, instead of providing the support and helping the insureds, what they're doing is they're telling them to file bankruptcy.
Now, we have your clients here. We're going to bring them on in a minute, but I want to talk about some of the injuries first, because one of them deals with traumatic brain injuries and the difficulty in proving them. Would you address that, please?
Absolutely. The difficulty in proving brain injury cases, I mean, it is very difficult to prove a brain injury case for someone such as, you know, Caleb Brown's situation, because he isn't so disabled you would just meet him and say, oh my gosh, you're slurred speech, you can't focus. It's these other things. He still can do a lot of things, and in fact, you know, he does. But the problem is, the brain injury itself has a cascading effect on other things in his body, such as his vision. He has a very difficult time seeing. He has a very difficult time working in light conditions. He needs to wear sunglasses all the time. It affects his hearing. It affects his fatigue. So that's one thing that a lot of people don't discuss a lot.
Right. But this is all documented.
Oh, absolutely.
So in a trial or in a court case, the insurance company have their own experts, right, Richard?
That's right.
So it becomes a battle of the experts, right?
In a large part, yes.
And then it comes down to the jury. Who does the jury believe? And in this particular case, the jury really socked it to the defendants, unfortunately, for that extra $13 million, correct?
That's right.
So the status of this case right now is what?
So the status of the case is that we are still waiting to finish up some post-judgment hearings. And then following those post-judgment hearings, we're anticipating an appeal by the defendant.
Okay. Now, you also are advocates for a Senate bill, correct? Right now in the Michigan State Senate, right? What is that bill, Richard? Explain it to us, simple language.
Well, simple language, it's to try to hold these insurance companies accountable when they do negotiate in bad faith.
So in other words, negotiating in bad faith, they have a policy limit. They could pay it if all the evidence is there to show that they should pay it, right? But they choose to go to trial, right? And in this particular case, there was a huge supplemental verdict added on that now the defendant is responsible for. How would this Senate bill change that?
Well, it would make the insurance companies responsible for that excess.
In other words, if they choose to go to trial and risk this, whatever the result, they got to pay.
Right.
Okay. We have with us Diana and Caleb, so let's bring them on right now. It is my great pleasure to introduce Diana and Caleb Brown. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Would you mind if I wore my sunglasses?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
You guys have been through a lot, haven't you? Not only were you injured, tell our audience a little bit about that day when you were injured.
Well, I was a garbage man, and I was a garbage man for 13 years. And December 3rd, 2013, I was working in Westphalia, Michigan, and I was along the side of the road pulling the trash over. There was a company. The guy went by the garbage truck, and that's the last thing I remember.
The trailer on the back end of the truck hit you and knocked you out.
Correct. Yeah.
And then you were rushed to the hospital, and
Yep.
what was the result? What did they determine what was wrong with you?
Post-concussion syndrome, traumatic brain injury. My shoulder was destroyed. I had some spinal damage, herniation discs, my neck. I had like no movement in my neck at all. Just a lot of different kinds of things that you expect when you get hit by a 50,000-pound vehicle. So.
Right. The police did a report, said it was the other driver's fault, correct?
Yep, correct.
So you thought this was a slam dunk.
Yep.
No problems, but here we are 10 years later.
Yep. He left the scene, and then they had to track him down, and hit and run. And I was like, we were thinking, that it would have been a pretty like open and shut case, but it definitely.
10 years later, it's not that way, is it?
No, it's been the last 10 years have been just a constant struggle.
Okay. Now, you're entitled to workers' comp, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So you guys were receiving it because basically that was your income for the family, correct?
Yep. She was off work because we had, I think Luke was.
I had an infant and a toddler at the time, and I was a stay-at-home mom. And then he got hurt, and everything just changed in an instant. Suddenly, I was caring for my husband on top of my kids and the farm that we have, and it was tough.
And the workers' comp really helped out there for a while, correct?
Yeah, they did help out for a little bit.
Okay, but then all of a sudden it stopped.
Yeah, it just stopped.
And come to find out it was stopped because the insurance carrier that was insuring the defendant who had run over you and injured you so badly, they had placed cameras across your property, at your kid's school, the whole 9 yards. And basically they were saying, you're not injured. There's nothing wrong with you. So we're not going to pay anymore, right?
Yeah, it was 4 years post-accident. So, I had 4 years of recovery under my belt before the surveillance. You know, they didn't get me like the first 4 years where I was in therapy for, you know, 3-4 times a week for hours.
I think that was the hardest part, is that they were saying he wasn't injured, and like we both knew like he was really injured, and he struggled all the time, every day. And like I saw it, I was a part of it, my kids were a part of it, and then the insurance company is saying he's fine.
Right. What are the things that he can't do today that he used to be able to do before?
Driving still a very big issue for him.
Because eyesight?
Yes, because of his visual problems. Like he just wants to go see his mom, you know, and he can't even go see her because she lives too far away. He can't drive.
Right, and that's why you wear these glasses, because the light bothers you so much, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yep. They call it photophobia. I just say I have light sensitivity, but
What are some of the other things around the house? You know, like the daily chores. You have a farm. Who manages that?
So he's been able to kind of get back in and help do some of that stuff. After the accident, for the first several years, he couldn't do anything. And so I stepped in and was doing it all. And then his parents helped out a lot.
Yeah, when the jury came back and awarded a huge verdict, it's almost a record-breaking verdict, I believe, in the state of Michigan, $14.3 million. What was your initial reaction?
I think we just felt relief that they
Believed you. They
yeah,
believed
they
you.
believed us. Like we had been through so much of a struggle with the insurance company not believing, and then they came in and said, "We believe you." And I mean, we just both broke down sobbing. It was just such
Right in the courtroom.
it was a unanimous verdict. So I mean, like, we personally went into this, you know, trying to get justice because somebody hit you and left the scene and never received a ticket or citation or anything.
To this day, 10 years later.
Yeah, so our initial, like, that's why we were even went into it, because we're like, what, you know, like, who hits somebody, runs, and then like doesn't even, never arrested. No, I know. And so we went in with that philosophy, and then we went in actually and turned into a battle with his insurance company, which was like super nasty.
Now, let's talk about a reality check. Got a $14.3 million verdict. But here we are today. None of it's been paid.
Nope.
That isn't justice, is it?
No, it's not justice at all.
Tell our audience what your thoughts are about that.
Our main concern is like his medical bill, and him getting treatment, and he's realistically gonna get worse as he gets older. And so we just want to have the security to know that we can get him treatment.
You are still getting treatment right now, right?
Yeah, there's some treatments that I can't afford, so I don't get them.
Like what type of treatments?
There's like hormonal treatment where they give you like human growth hormone.
The coverage doesn't cover that.
Dr. Randy Benson out of down by Detroit, he does it, and it's like groundbreaking. Through like like NFL players go there, and soldiers, all kinds of stuff, and it's just it's so expensive that because it's new.
Now, Diana, are you working now?
Yes, I am currently working. That's the reason he can get treatment, is that I have insurance through my work, and then they cover his treatment.
This is one hell of a system, isn't it? I mean, you get knocked out, run down, all these serious medical problems. The other driver never gets cited. Their insurance company says it never happened, right? It's your fault, right? They said it was your fault, right?
In trial, I was like looking down, and their attorney actually was like doing a pose where he was portraying that I had stuck my head in the road in front of the trailer
To get run over. Yeah, everybody does
like
that.
One of their that was one of their things.
It was a tactic. He was trying to manipulate the system, or manipulate what he was doing, because he the bright lights in the courtroom, and he was just looking down, and the lawyer made it seem like that's what he was doing when he got hit.
And Tom James caught it, and he brought that out so that the jury, like, look, you know, the guy didn't stick his head into traffic.
Yeah, this is why we do these shows. Media attention. It brings to the attention of the public of what insurance companies do to their policyholders and what they do to the other side. Because, you know, bottom line is you still have a legal hurdle to get through to get some sort of compensation. I mean, there'll be something, but who knows what
And
it
it could be another 5
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And it's already been a decade. And it's, I mean, I think where we're at is, you know, like, we're just in it now because we think that it's a battle that is like, yeah, you can't get out of it. And it's kind of like good versus evil, really. I mean, it's not even the Comstocks anymore. It's Secura Insurance. So, I mean, like, everything's like, people have accidents, right? Like, the guy didn't run me down because he didn't like me, or
He didn't even know you.
yeah, there was no malicious intent. But you know, like, on my side, it's like, you know, I did have a lot of injuries. I'm lucky to be alive, really. And I'll probably have problems for the rest of my life.
What do you think about the justice system, Diane?
I think it's not working the way it currently is.
Yeah. What do you think about your lawyers, Tom and Richard?
I love my lawyers. Like, they're amazing. They've become family almost. Like,
Ride or die. That's what I say.
we've known them as long as our kids have been alive, pretty much.
Yep, we met Tom when Luke was nine
infant, yeah.
months old, and now he's 10.
Well, we certainly hope that this gets resolved soon as a result of this show. We certainly hope that you guys get what you deserve. You know, the jury didn't give that extra amount of money because they had nothing better to do. They wanted to sock it to them, okay? Because this could have been resolved a long time ago, right? So I'm sorry that you're in this situation, but hopefully this show will help. And thank you very much. And I understand your kids are here, right?
Oh, yeah, they are.
So we'll bring them on right now. It is my great pleasure to introduce Elena and Luke Brown. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks.
You and your family have gone through a lot, haven't you?
Yes.
Right. You watched your dad. You used to go to work every day, and for the last 10 years, hadn't done that, right? Now you were 11 years old, right? So that's the majority of your life, and you're 10, right? And by the way, introduce your puppy.
This is our family dog, Arlo.
Arlo, such a pretty dog.
Yeah, he's a Bernie Doodle.
Right. So how has that affected your life? You probably had to pitch in more, correct? Help around the house. What have you been?
I mean, we've been like taking care of the animals. Like, we have to like water the animals.
You have cows?
Yes, we have cows. We have a sheep. One sheep, a goat, and ducks.
So you're out there pitching in with the farm, correct?
Takes at least an hour to water all the animals.
Feed them too, don't you?
Yeah.
So you're different from a city kid, right?
Yeah.
Now, right now, with your current family situation, how have you noticed your dad has changed?
Well, he used to like go to work every day and like do all this garbage stuff and like ride on the back of a truck, and now he like has trouble driving, and his eyes are always hurting and his back hurts, so we help him out and have to like we pick up the house every day because his back hurts if he vacuums, if he has to lean over.
Wow, both of you, huh? You don't mow the grass, huh? You don't have that? Lucky you. I used to have to do that, you know? What have you seen in your young years, because this case has been going on for 10 years, how do you think the court system works, the justice system works? Do you think it works?
It's kind of a little bit of depending on the person other than what happened to them.
In other words, they kind of don't care. Your lawyers care, But the other side doesn't care what happened, correct?
Whatever happens, they just want.
It's all about the money, right? What did you think when your verdict came in at $14 million? What did you think?
That's a lot of money because $100 is a lot of money to me.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's good. Well, anything else you want to say to the national audience about your family in this situation?
people are mean.
We had a house fire and we've had to deal with this. It's just terrible.
So you gotta be strong.
Got to be strong, right? Because you will get through it, right?
Yep.
And I want to thank both of you for spending time with us, and best of luck to you, okay?
All right.
Let's get back to that Senate bill again, the one that's pending in the state Senate. Tell our audience a little bit about what's at stake here.
So what's at stake is the protection of insureds. It's the people that buy insurance, assuming that the insurance is there to protect them, but finding out after they need it that it's not there at all.
Okay, and give me an example as it relates to bad faith, Richard.
Well, for example, in this case, the insureds, the Comstocks, thought that their insurance was there to protect them. And the insurance company, Secura, dragged them to trial and made them go through trial, just like they made Mr. Brown and his wife go through trial as well. And now the insurance goes, it's not us, our policy is only $1 million. This Senate bill would make go, no, the whole verdict is now your responsibility, Secura.
And in cases like this, the winning party can come after the assets of the defendant, correct?
Absolutely. Right now, yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the reasons why on the back end, what we're understanding is that the Secura is trying to bully the Comstocks into declaring bankruptcy right now. And that's an abhorrent policy that the insurance company who had an opportunity to resolve this case, we could have resolved this within the policy limits of the Comstocks prior to trial. We made offers that were under, our demands that were under that $1 million policy, and they told us to take a leap.
Right.
And their greatest offer, as Richard mentioned earlier, their greatest offer, their highest offer was only $25,000 prior to trial. Someone messed up. Someone messed up.
Mm-hmm. So congratulations on the verdict. Let's hope you collect, and let's hope the bad advice that Secura is giving the Comstocks, the defendants right now, isn't taken by them. They own a house. They really, I don't know, do you have protection and homesteading here in the state?
Well, I mean, we don't get involved in any of that stuff on the defendant side. However, I can tell you, it's an upsetting situation because anyone could be in that same position where they accidentally cause harm to somebody else and be put in this same exact spot by their insurance company as well, unless this bill passes.
All right, great job again. Okay, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. You can get more information about our guest and the issues at insiderexclusive.com.